and now we take on an outstanding football team, probably as balanced of a football team that we're going to play this year. And when I mean balanced, I don't mean necessarily in terms of offense, defense, in terms of 50-50. I mean talent level across the board. Apparently no weaknesses in my eyes relative to their talent level. I think, sometimes when we look at teams, we look at, potential weaknesses at a particular position. I don't see any with this team. Defensive line, linebackers, secondary, safeties, corners, offensive line, running backs, quarterback, wide receivers. This is a extremely talented football team with no apparent weaknesses. Well coached, and certainly, a football team that, we'll have to play our best against.
In what ways is Jalen Milroe maybe used differently in Kalen DeBoer's offense than what they asked him to do a year ago under Tommy Rees?
Well, last year, Matt, it was evolving. I don't know that they knew what they wanted to do because it was a quarterback controversy. But they were kind of playing multiple quarterbacks last year at Alabama. I think they had 2 or 3 quarterbacks going back and forth. Then they kind of settled on Milroe just before they got to us, and it was, I think, big chunk play. It was run the quarterback. Here, they've had all spring, and they've settled on a system with a starting quarterback. So it's consistency week in and week out. They're doing the same thing with him week in and week out. So there's a comfort level within the offense. When we got to him last year, you weren't really sure what you were going to get. It was a little bit of everything. And now there's a consistency within their offensive structure, and there's a comfort level in terms of what he's doing.
Hey, Coach, a lot of people are calling this a playoff game in itself. Do you embrace that kind of talk? Does that give urgency to it, or does it create anxiety and you stay away from that?
Yeah, I think, each game that we play is a new game in itself, and I think it goes to what I talked about. We're much more focused on playing 4 quarters of football. Our focus last week was, cleaning up the things that we needed to take care of internally. And so our focus, where our real work was thinking about what we needed to do better to play at a higher level. Look, all that other stuff is out there, but it doesn't help us relative to what we need to do.
Important is a guy also like Aaron Henderson in the slot who can, kind of keep you guys ahead of the sticks in quick game.
Yeah, no doubt, and he's been there for us, right? I mean, I think we have, guys like Mason Taylor and Aaron Anderson, and then certainly Kyron Lacey's been big for us on third down. We've got to be more consistent across the board, and creating a little bit more uncertainty in terms of what we are doing, and making sure that we can, get the ball to the playmakers, but be able to include that in a variety of different ways, and include, the screen game and misdirection and the running game, and create a little bit more uncertainty in terms of what we're doing offensively, and I think you'll see that as we continue to move forward.
NIL, has it created the parity that you see in pro football? Has it brought that to college football?
Yeah, I don't know that it's hard for me to really assess that like halfway through the season and looking at the rosters. Look, there's been transfers, right? There's been transfers from, different schools that have made impacts, and maybe some have negatively impact rosters. But those are choices, right? Those are choices that programs and coaches make. So, I don't know that if you take in its totality, whether it's been a plus or a minus. I think some schools would say it's been a positive for us. Some might say, well, maybe I shouldn't have made this decision, but it's still a choice that you make. So in terms of being able to kind of give a statement as to whether it's good or bad, I think it's out there, and then you have to make that individual decision as to, whether, that's something that you want to be part of relative to the transfer portal. But NIL is a good thing. NIL is a positive thing that you have to be able to manage within your program. And I don't think that has sidetracked us. I think transfers and making decisions on all of those things has probably been one of the bigger issues, because it changes your roster, it changes the chemistry, it changes, how you look at your roster each and every year.
Hey, Coach, over here, a little bit of a two-parter. First, college game day, coming to campus, the first time since you've been the head coach at LSU. Just talk about them coming over here to LSU and getting prepared for a big game and get your guys maybe not distracted by the big environment this Saturday. And the second part, Jalen DeBoer. I know he went up the coaching ranks like yourself from Division II up to now. Just what have been some of the conversations you've had with him since he become the head coach at Alabama?
Yeah, we're excited about having game day here. Certainly, it's great for the community. It's certainly great for our campus. The exposure of game day, does a great deal for, the just entire identity, right, of Baton Rouge, the state of Louisiana, LSU. College football is kind of like the hub, when you bring it in. So I think that's going to create a lot of excitement, and we're pleased that they've chosen LSU for that. Kalen and I have not had a chance to speak, but just in passing, it's just one of those things where, he was playing for a national championship, then got the job, and it's been kind of a whirlwind for him. So anytime that we've gotten together, it's been in passing, but we do share a common bond, and, we both worked our way up. We both learned how to do the laundry, literally and figuratively. And so, those kinds of experiences lend itself to having a mutual respect for each other. And I know I respect the work that he's done, and, he's continuing to do it on every level.
And with the running game, is it something where y'all thought maybe because Garrett just hasn't gotten that part of his game yet, where he's taking the ball and running it himself on zone reads and those sorts of things, that maybe that needs to change in the offense?
I would like to give you a simple answer, but it's not a simple answer. There are, when you're in 11 personnel, one back personnel, it becomes a numbers game, right? And so those numbers have to be right. The quarterback has to get you in the right plays. Your backs really need to be good at discerning, what the right cut is. Your tight ends and receivers have to be really good at blocking on the perimeter. This is an all-in thing. And look, the question is a good question, but it has a lot of layers to it. We have to be better, and we need to be better.